Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about your irrigation system. Now, when you have grass like St. Augustine grass, it's very important to have good watering. And what does that the best is your sprinkler system. When you use your hose, it's completely uneven. You have no idea how much water you're actually putting down, and it really is not very effective. So it's very important to have a good sprinkler system in your house. Most likely the house you bought already had this installed, or the builders put it in for you, and you haven't had to mess with it at all. You haven't had to do anything. So what happens in the spring or whatever that you have a sprinkler head break or stop working, doesn't work as effective, or maybe you even notice that the sprinklers they put out, maybe it doesn't give you full coverage and you need to replace some of them. So let's talk about that and see how easy it is to replace these so you don't have to go pay somebody way too much money to do it. If we look here, this sprinkler head is not working properly. The majority of it is, but if we look closely, we can actually see that it's spewing water out right here. And actually, if you feel, and you might not be able to tell from that angle, but it's actually spewing water from the top as well. And it's losing a lot of water all the way around it. Whereas if you look over here, this sprinkler head is actually working properly, though it is a little bit of a bad angle that we might want to fix. And this sprinkler head is also working perfectly. I want to show you a quick demonstration explanation of the sprinkler head before we actually go and fix my problem. So this is your standard sprinkler head. They all look basically like this. And if you take off the top, this just unscrews off like this. You actually can get to take everything out of the housing. This is just a plastic housing, nothing special. So you have the spring here, which just helps us go up and down. And then what is important here is this actual sprinkler head. This is what we are going to be replacing on mine, and this is most often what you're going to need to replace to fix yours. So a couple things here. If you look on this specific one, there is a green indication there which shows where the water is going to spray out of, or actually it shows the direction. This one specifically, it actually is on the opposite side where the water is going to come out at, but it shows the angle. And so sometimes you might need to replace this just to change the angle of where the water is actually going. But if your sprinkler head like mine is coming out to where on the top here it's just kind of dribbling out, or it's coming out uneven or incorrectly, you can actually just replace this head, which is a lot cheaper than replacing the whole thing. So you can actually just unscrew this head off just like this. Now, when you unscrew it off, you're going to see there is a filter inside. Now, you can actually go buy this at Home Depot for like 69 cents, I think, and I actually have one here. You have right here, and it comes with the head and also the filter. And when you buy this, you can buy whichever ones you want. They've got multiple different ones. This is actually an adjustable one that will actually let you go anywhere between, I think, 30 degrees and 270 degrees, so you can adjust it, which is very helpful. So in this example, all we have to do now is to take this back here, and we're just going to hold this back down to get toward the head portion. And again, this is will fix almost all issues with your irrigation if the water isn't coming out right or any issues with that at all. You can also just check to make sure this isn't plugged, but this is really the only component of the irrigation system that's important. So you put that filter on, you just screw that in, put it back in, you put all this back in the housing, and voila, you have a sprinkler head that is now going to work perfectly. Now, another issue that you could have is if the sprinkler is actually too low in the ground. You could, when you go in, which I'm going to do shortly, dig up the ground and try to raise it up a little bit, but you might actually need to use one of these little connectors. It's just a little adapter, and all this is going to do is you're going to actually take this and screw this in to the bottom, which if you continue watching, I'll show you what I mean. You screw that into the bottom where the actual irrigation here usually connects to, and then all you do afterwards is just screw this one in here, and that will actually raise it another inch or so. You can also buy more extenders or larger ones of these, which will actually raise it even higher if you need your irrigation to be a little bit higher. This specifically, I believe, was like 34 cents at Home Depot. So again, spending 67 or 69 cents on this or 34 cents on this is a lot cheaper than spending $8 on a new one of these. So on this one, you can see here where the sprinkler head, if you can tell, is actually a little bit at an angle. It's a little bit more angled down this way direction instead of up high. And you really want to make sure that your sprinkler heads are as even with your lawn as possible, so when they pop up, they're watering correctly. This one, when this pops up, let me see if I can grab it for you. When it waters, it's actually angled this way. So the watering habits are actually pointing more toward the ground here, and therefore it is not actually watering as far. And this here is actually spraying too high, and you're not watering all of the grass over here, only further out. So you need to make it as even as possible. In addition, this here is actually a little bit too low to the ground. I'm going to be replacing this Bermuda grass here with St. Augustine grass, and when I do that, that St. Augustine sits a lot higher. So at that point in time, when this pops up, this is not going to be high enough to get past my St. Augustine grass unless it's been freshly mowed, meaning there's going to be grass right here in the way. So when this turns on and starts spraying water out, it's actually going to be hitting my grass and not watering my entire lawn, but just this area. So in this case, I actually need to pull this entire thing out, and we need to actually raise this. So in this case, I don't need to replace anything but this head, as I explained, but we do actually need to dig all of this out so I can take the actual housing here and I can raise it up a good inch or two, probably about 2 inches, to make sure that it is A, straight and level perfectly, and B, high enough to when I put my St. Augustine grass in this portion of my yard, it will be able to water the entire grass and not be obstructed. I have found the actual pipe, which is going toward the irrigation system here to provide water to it. And the interesting part here, and which is actually exciting, is that it's actually going down at an angle like this. And somehow over time, this has actually settled and gone lower, because instead of the pipe coming in evenly, it's actually going down like that. So if I can take enough of the dirt out from underneath and all around here, I can actually raise it up like that and then pack the dirt properly underneath to level it just right. And then it should be right where I need it, which is actually right there. And when I raise that up right there, you can actually see where the pipe is now straight, this is straight, everything actually looks like it's supposed to. So now that I have it like that, I'm going to try to take, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit, which is okay. I'm going to try to get some rocks that I have over here and put underneath it for more stability. So we're just going to put these down in here. So now that is nice and level there. Okay, got all of that in there. Okay, now with it level, I now want to keep it level and keep it straight with my hands. I'm going to start trying to pack the dirt around it and try to make it to where it stays exactly where we want it to stay. Now, one thing I will say here, which would be smart, we should stop, is we should test it. Now, we want to make sure that this housing wasn't damaged in any way. There's really no place for this housing to be damaged, but maybe something in here is leaking or cracking, allowing water to seep through. So we should test it now before we get too much further, just to make sure that it works. So this is a great lesson to make sure before you start that you position this correctly, because we got water all over ourselves. So let's put this over here. We can see though, it is working properly. Very good. Now let's position it properly. Now if you look from that angle, if you can see, you can't move the top, the cap, because that's screwing it on and off. So to actually position it correctly, you got to grab on, which is why I wanted to do this quickly so I didn't have to turn the sprinkler back on, and so you're sitting a little farther away. You want to grab this top part, and you're just going to twist it until it's straight and level exactly where you want it. Okay? It's okay that I'm getting wet. Really, it is. I mean, I need windshield wipers, but it's okay because our irrigation system is fixed. This is nice. Look how even it is. It is perfect all the way around. We do need to straighten it up a tiny bit, and now it is perfectly straight there. And you see that it is working perfectly. Of course, I only put it on for a few seconds, so I wouldn't have to waste any more, but it is working perfectly. Thank you very much for joining me for another video. My glasses are still very wet. I can't see you, and now I still can't see you, but that's okay. Thank you again for joining me for another video. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, your irrigation system is very important to keep your grass looking beautiful, dark green and lush, just like this St. Augustine grass. which if you want more tips on staying out of grass, you should check out my videos that I've probably linked a few different places on this video. Thank you again. Like always, please like and subscribe, and hope to see you again in another video. Thank you.